Welcome back to another MOTOBOB video where today we're going to look at 9 of the best new and updated Yamaha motorcycles for 2022. The London Motorcycle Show was a couple of weeks back and it was our first chance to see them in the flesh in the UK, so here are my picks going in order of peak power ascending. But before we get started, a massive thanks to Speedo Angels for sponsoring the channel. They make these awesome little speedo protectors that sell for just a few quid, but you could save yourself hundreds if not thousands if you scratch or damage your dash. Take the R1 for example, it's £1,261.18 for a new dash assembly. Quite the saving on a Speedo Angels product at 10 or 15 quid, and they've got them for loads of other Yamahas as well, and loads of bikes from all the major manufacturers. So there's a link down in the description, as well as a 20% discount code for my viewers. So starting at the learner-friendly end of the Yamaha lineup, we've got the A2 compliant MT-03 with its 321cc parallel twin that makes about 41 horses. It looks the absolute nuts though, with the same sort of aggressive visual design as the rest of the MT lineup. So you've got the distinctive dual LED running lights and then the Cyan Storm paint job, which personally I'm a big fan of. Should go pretty well too, plenty of torque, 37mm upside down forks, decent brakes, and this particular show bike benefits from the Akropovich accessory exhaust. The LCD display looks pretty smart in the cockpit there, and the LED lighting all round helps to keep it looking modern. And all in all, I'd say it's a learner bike you can certainly be proud to ride. I just wish they did a retro XSR900 version as well, because that'd be slightly more to my tastes. Big jump up in price to the next one from 5,400 to 11 grand, so more than double, and this is the Tenere 700 Rally. Now they had the other non-rally version of the bike on the stand as well, but I picked this one for the paint job. It just looks epic with the speed blocks and the gold rims. No massive changes to the Tenere lineup for 2022 apart from the addition of the Raid model. There's a link in the description to my full video about that bike if you haven't seen it already, but the standard bike in this rally edition just got new paint. But you could argue, why mess with a winning formula? The CP2 parallel twin is a proven engine that works well here, and the off-road bias chassis and handling have made this bike a real success in dealers. They've given it much more capability in that regard than your average middleweight adventure bike. The only gripe I've got with the Tenere is that the price keeps creeping up. When it was launched back in 2019, it was introduced at £8,399, which is great value and roughly in line with the other CP2 powered bikes. Fast forward a few years though, and yes, there are a lot of factors in the world at the moment that might affect the price, but it starts at £9,700 now for the standard bike. Maybe doesn't sound like quite so good value for such a simple machine, and you're also getting pretty close to some very capable and feature-laden alternatives. Hopefully the R7 won't receive the same treatment, because at £8,200 it looks pretty good. In fact, it gets the same CP2 parallel twin as the Tenere with the exact same power and torque figures, so 72 horsepower peak and 67 newton meters. But of course it's wrapped in a quite aggressive super sport package with a fairly tucked in riding position. It gets upgraded suspension with full adjustability, radially mounted brake calipers, an assisting slipper clutch, and the option of a quick shifter accessory on the upshift. It should be a lot of fun. The initial reviews are great and the price point looks good, so I just can't wait to get hold of a press bike in the next couple of months to find out for myself. It's worth adding that for an extra £300 you can get this rather tasty looking World GP 60th anniversary edition. Definitely some parallels with the Tenere Rally we just looked at, so the same white and red speed blocks, gold rims, a gold anodized fork, and a yellow sort of number board on the front there. The idea is to celebrate 60 years of Yamaha's involvement in Grand Prix racing, first entering the French GP back in 1961. They went on to win their first world championship pretty quickly, so 3 years later in 1964, and it's a nice backstory there, but for me it just makes for a slightly more sporty and exciting option to the standard Icon Blue or Stealthy Black, and 300 quid seems like a pretty fair deal. Another very striking looking bike comes up next, the brand new XSR900, but I think this one is a bit of a grower looks wise. I mean, the previous gen XSR900 was quite a nice looking bike, a little more subdued, maybe more 70s inspired, and then they've done this big visual update and it definitely leans more towards the 80s. I reckon mostly it's an improvement, it's just that seat hump that's taken me a while to get on board with. But seeing it in the flesh at the show, I do understand what they were going for, and if you don't like it, I'm sure there'll be aftermarket options available, which makes it a pretty easy quick fix. It is more than a purely visual update for 2022 though. It gets all the new stuff that they put on the MT-09. So more power and torque from the inline triple engine, an updated assist and slipper clutch, a redesigned delta box frame that they say is lighter and stronger, new lightweight spin forged wheels, upgraded braking courtesy of a Brembo radial master cylinder, and loads of electronics including a 6-axis IMU for lean sensitive rider aids, an up and down quick shifter, cruise control, and it can all be managed through a new 3.5-inch TFT display. This might be the most exciting bike on the stand, to be honest. The MT-09 is such a brilliant bike to ride, one of, if not my favorite road bike, especially if you consider the price at about 9 grand, but the looks are just a little divisive, let's say. And so thankfully this XSR provides the same thrills, just in a slightly retro package that I think is much better looking. If it all sounds a little sedate for your taste though, then you might want to consider the MT-10. Again, massively updated for the new model year. It gets more power from its cross-plane inline 4, a new titanium exhaust system, and they've even tuned the air intakes and added some acoustic amplifier grills to the top of the tank just to increase the noise levels specifically around the rider for more of that visceral riding experience under acceleration. They've tweaked the riding position for more comfort, and like the XSR, both improved their braking setup with a new Brembo radial master cylinder and then added loads of tech with a new IMU, so you get slide control, cornering traction control, front wheel lift control, engine brake management, and lean sensitive brake control. Looks wise though, yes, it also gets an update, and very modern it is too, but specifically this new front end is a big talking point, and for me it's equally as difficult as the MT-09 to get on with and potentially a bit polarizing for others. Like I say though, I generally prefer classic and retro styling, so let me know what you think down in the comments below. Naturally, they also updated the SP edition. I couldn't get a UK price on this one, but for presumably a couple of grand more, you get their R1M inspired paint job, braided brake hoses, a 3-piece belly pan, but most importantly, a full Öhlins semi-active suspension system which has a choice of modes for different riding conditions. So A1 is the most sporty with the most feel and feedback, A2 is a happy medium, whereas A3 is set up for a softer touring biased ride with an emphasis on comfort and stability. Now both the standard bike and the SP get a new 4.2-inch TFT dash which comes straight from the R1, although the R1 itself didn't really get an update for 2022. Just the option of the 60th anniversary paint job which we saw earlier on the R7, and it's 500 quid on top of the standard bike for this one. For me it just looks so damn good in the flesh though that I had to get a few shots of it, and I really like these retro paint jobs that we're getting on sports bikes at the moment. Honda also had their retro inspired Fireblade at the show which looks incredible, and there was a 90s style body kit for the ZX Tenere on the Kawasaki stand which was also pretty sweet. Top of this list though, producing the most peak power and also the most expensive, is this very special limited edition R1 built by Crescent Racing to celebrate the World Superbike Championship success of Toprak Razgatlioglu. A new World Superbike spec Akropovich exhaust system plus a GYTR race ECU gives it a boost of 20 horsepower versus the regular R1, so it makes 205 at the rear wheel. They fitted loads of lightweight bits as well to shed 26 kilograms. There's racing spec braking from Brembo, racing spec suspension from Öhlins, and Superlight forged Marcassini wheels. On top of that, there's the World Superbike paint job, a frame certificate, VIP passes to a Superbike round next year, including a meet and greet with Toprak himself, a personalized bike setup, and a one-on-one track coaching day with the Crescent Yamaha team, and some signed Toprak gear from his championship winning season. Quite the package, and only 21 will be produced, so definitely get your skates on if you want one. But look, it'd be wasted on me and my riding ability or lack thereof. So out of this list, personally, I love the XSR900 and wouldn't mind that Tenere rally either, but let me know your pick down in the comments below. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.